Hey class, this is lesson 8.2, area of a hexagon. In today's lesson target, we are going to develop an algorithm to calculate area of a polygon, and we're going to go over a few polygons. The first polygon that we are going to find the area of is this rectangle. So go ahead and you guys calculate the area of the rectangle, and then I'll give you the answers in a few. Okay, so first off, to find the area of this rectangle, I usually write out the formula first. So area of a rectangle equals, let's say, length times width, base times height, up to you. But this is the common one that I like to use. So I know that 2.5 is going to be my length, and then my width is going to be 7 feet. And then I simply just need to multiply those two values together to get my final answer. So you guys go ahead and calculate that. My final answer here should be 17.5, and then I'm going to put feet and then squared. So that's my answer for area of a rectangle. So hopefully this is just mainly review for you guys. All right, question number 2 is find the area of the polygon, and this polygon is a triangle. So starting off is just to write area of a triangle equals 1/2 base times height. And then, or some people like seeing it as base times height divided by 2. So that's up to you guys. All right, so first off, make sure you label your triangle. So go ahead and do that first. And then figure out what's your base, what's your height. Those are crucial things. Okay, so here we have our base is what our triangle is sitting on, and our triangle here is sitting on the number 12. So I'm going to consider that as my base. And then my height is usually when you measure from your toes to your head. So straight up and down is the height. So the value that makes the most sense as my height here is the number 4. So using these values to calculate my area, I'm going to use maybe the second formula. So base is 12 times height is 4, and then I'm going to divide that by 2, which is 48 divided by 2, which I get 24. And then there's no units on here, so I'm just going to put units squared, and that's my area for my triangle. All right, question number 3 is to find the area of the polygon. Here is a trapezoid, and notice that in a trapezoid there is actually a formula for a trapezoid, and then sometimes you may not know what the formula is on the at the top of your head, but there's something else that you can do, which is to split the shape up into shapes that you actually know. And then if I were to do this, I would most likely do it like this, because I do have a rectangle here, and then I do have a triangle on the other side. So let me just highlight that for you guys to see. So here's my rectangle, and then on the other side here is my triangle. Okay, so if I needed these things, that means I have to find the area of both. So rectangle, which I know is length times width, and then area of my triangle, which is going to be base times height divided by 2. And then to find the area of the trapezoid itself, I could put trapezoid, or just put, you can put trapezoid, but maybe just drawing out the trapezoid might help just to keep it consistent, is that I need to add these two items together. Okay, so to find the area of my triangle, I'm going to say 4 is my length, and then 5 is my width. So if I multiply those together, I should get 20 meters squared. And then for my triangle, I have no base and no height in terms of the values that were given to me. So instead, I kind of have to think about what this is. So because I have information about my rectangle, I can kind of label a few things in here, a few more things in here, and then these are going to help me. So because one side is 4 meters, the other side is 4 meters, this is technically the height of my triangle. So perfect, I have the height. Now I need the base, and the base is going to be right there. So notice that from one end to the other, the total should be 8. But I've only accounted for 5 out of the 8. So whatever is left over should be 3. So this is 3 meters right here. So 3 meters plus 5 meters gives me a total of 8 meters. And then if I were to calculate this out, I have 3 times 4 and divide that by 2 should give me a total of 6 meters squared. So now that I have the two value, I have a 20 meters right here, and then I have a 6 meters squared right here. I should just add those values together, and then you guys probably noticed that that is 26 meters squared. So this is one way to find the area of a trapezoid. Another way is to use the crazy formula, which is base 1. Usually base 1 and base 2 is the top and bottom of the trapezoid. So 8 and 5 are base 1, base 2. And then the height is 4, and then you divide it by 2. So this is the formula, the actual formula. But if you don't remember it, because it does get crazy, then you can break things up into pieces. So this whole idea of breaking things up into pieces translate to the next problem, which is to find the area of this hexagon. So in the area of a hexagon, we don't have a formula. There's not really any clues as to how to find it. But what we do know is that we can split this up into shapes that we are aware of. So there are some things that you can do. You can either split this up into two trapezoids and try to figure out some way to calculate this, or you can just make it a little bit more simpler on yourself and then split this up into triangles like so. Okay, so what we know is that a hexagon is made of 6 triangles. And we also know how to find the area of a triangle. So area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So those are the two things that is actually super crucial in a problem like this. And what do we need to find? Well, we just basically need to find the area of a triangle. Because if we find the area of a triangle, and we know that all these triangles in this hexagon should be exactly the same, then we just gotta multiply that by 6, and then we are ready to go. Okay, so we'll find the area of the triangle and multiply by 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total triangles. Okay, so let me redo this problem by cutting this again, which I should have done already. Okay. So in a problem like this, always cut them into triangle first, and the next thing that you have to do is actually to find the central angle. And the central angle is the measure of these angles that I'm highlighting right here. And all these angles are actually the same angle. They should equal to the same degree. And something else that you should know is that all these angles, when you form them together, equals to a circle. So a circle in general is equal to 360 degrees. And if I were to cut this into 6 slices, then each of these slices will equal to 60 degrees. Okay, so my central angle is 60 degrees. So I'm gonna throw that in here and be a little bit tedious, even though you have to write all these. Eventually we won't have to, but at least we'll do it for now. Okay, so those are our central angles. Okay, so after doing that, so cutting the triangle first, or cutting into triangles first, finding the central angle second, and then the next thing we're going to do is we can actually find the area of this triangle given 2 pieces of information. So we have the bottom of the triangle, which is our base, and then we just have this central angle, which is 60 degrees. And notice that I pulled one of the triangles out, because if I find the area of this one triangle, then I can find the area of the hexagon. Okay, so using my formula 1/2 base times height, so I know 8 is my base, but then what happens to my height? I don't actually have a height, so how can I find this height instead? Okay, so notice that I have cut this triangle in half, and the easiest way to figure out what the area of this triangle is if we know the height. But if we don't know the height, then how do we find it? So what I'm going to do again is just to focus in on one of the triangles in this pink triangle here. So I'm just going to focus in on this triangle over here, which seems a little crazy. Okay, so what I know is that the bottom of half of this triangle should be 4, because this is 4 right here, and this is 4 right here. The height I'm still missing. I still don't know what that is. And then the degree at the very top, remember, gets split into 30, 30. So I think you guys remember me doing this one point in time. And then notice that I have a 30 degree, I have a 90 degree, and therefore my last degree has to be 60. So we're going back to this whole 30, 60, 90, okay? Okay, so now that we know 30, 60, 90, we can actually find the height without having to do any calculations. But I am going to also find the hypotenuse, which I have to do 4 times 2 to give me 8. And then across from the 60, remember, always has the square root of 3, but the number that I'm going to put in front of it is always going to be this small number right here. So this is my height, 4 square root of 3. And then my base, remember, I'm looking at the base, which I've already labeled to be 8 instead of looking at 4. So to find the area of this triangle, I'm going to do base times height divided by 2. So base is 8 times height, and then divide that by 2. So in a problem like this, how do I do this type of problem when there's a square root of 3 in it? Well, what you have to do is just multiply these two numbers, which gives me 32, and then add the square root of 3 after, and then divide by 2. And then I'm going to just deal with these two numbers, and 32 divided by 2 should give me 16 square root of 3, and then notice I just added the square root of 3 in, and I'm going to put units squared. So the area of one of my triangle, this whole pink triangle right here, just this one, is the 16 square root of 3. And then I'm going to go to the next problem so that I can rewrite that. So this is problem F. And problem F is just telling me to finish off this problem. So problem F says use the area of that one triangle to find the area of the hexagon. So notice that when I told you guys before that the area of the hexagon is just going to come out of these triangles. So I know that if I found the area of one of the triangles and I multiplied that by 6, that's going to give me the total area. So my area of my triangle is 16 square root of 3, and I'm going to multiply that by 6 because there are 6 triangles in here. And that's going to be 96 square root of 3, and then I'm going to put units squared. Okay, so I know that it takes multiple steps to do this, and then I did it in separate slides, so it might be confusing, but we are going to do this all at once, and then I'm going to give you guys this practice problem right now. So let me show you the practice problem. So it says find the area of the polygon, where you're going to cut the hexagon into triangles, you're going to find the central angle, you're going to find the area of one triangle, and then you're going to find the area of the hexagon. So maybe pause this video or go back so you can attempt this problem, and on the next page I'm going to show you the answer with explanation. Alright, so in terms of the answer, so all the steps I'm going to show you, starting from cutting the triangles into pieces. So I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to cut this, hexagon into triangles, and then that gives me 6. So step 1 done, cutting them up. Step 2 is to find the central angle, and the central angle always begins with 360 divided by, and how many triangles I have, which is 6. So this is the same as 60 degrees as before. So all of these are 60 degrees again. And then I need to find the area of one of the triangles, but I'm not going to focus on all of them because I don't need to, because they're all the same. And I'm just going to focus in on one. And when you do that, draw it out so that it can help you. So here I'm going to find the area of a triangle. I'm going to put 60 degrees here, 12 at the bottom, and then I'm going to cut it in half because I know I'm missing my height. I don't know what that is. Okay, so now that you're missing your height, you don't know what that is. Again, focus in on one triangle because it just makes it a little bit easier. We can apply our 30, 60, 90 rule. And then notice that 12 does get split in half to become 6, 6. So this becomes 6 right here. And then I don't know what my height is, question mark. Okay, just be sure that you label 12 to be your base. And then, so you don't get mixed up later. Okay, so if I did 6 times 2, that's going to give me my hypotenuse of 12. And then I forgot to label my 30, 60, 90 here. And across from the 60 always has the square root of 3. But I'm going to use the number 6 in front. All right, so now that I have my height, notice how easy that was. Okay, so now I'm going to find the area of my triangle, and then I'm going to find the area of my hexagon after. Okay, so area of a triangle is my base, which is 12, times my height, which is 6 square root of 3, and I'm going to divide that all by 2. So 12 times 6 is 72. 72 divided by 2 is going to give me 36, and then I just got to add the square root of 3 in. That's the area of my triangle. And I know that I have 6 triangles in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to do 36 square root of 3 times 6 is going to give me 216 square root of 3. There's no units on here, so I'm going to put units squared, and that's my final answer. Okay, so hopefully me doing it all on one page made a little bit more sense. But first, I found the central angle. Second, I found the area of a triangle, which has to do with this whole idea of 30, 60, 90. So it's important you know where everything falls. And then I multiplied the values by 6 in order to find my total area for my hexagon. All right, so that's pretty much it for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.